J-Doodle, Tails, enjoy.
Helixion, Catalyst. Chapter 2, Resonance. The humming inside the chamber deepened. James sat rigid in the chair as the amplifier rings rotated slowly around him. Their motion was smooth and controlled at first, but the vibration beneath the floor had begun to change. Karen leaned over the console. "James, your emotional output just doubled again. How is that possible?" he asked, still without opening his eyes. "It shouldn't be," she replied, a bit worried. Data poured across the monitors, faster than the system normally processed. Neural activity spikes, hormonal response surges, bioelectric output climbing steadily. The machine had been built to measure emotional emissions, but now the amplifier column behind the chair had begun pushing energy back into the circuit. Karen's fingers moved across the keyboard. "James, the amplifier is feeding your neural signal back into the system." James' features contoured into a frown. "That's not how it's designed." "No," she said quietly, staring at the readings. "It isn't." Inside the chamber, the rings rotated faster. A sharp tremor passed through the chair. James felt a sudden pressure behind his eyes, like a rising storm inside his skull. "Karen," he said slowly, "disconnect the amplifier." "I've been trying," she blurted out nervously. Her commands flashed across the console. Override, shut down, emergency interrupt. None of them worked. The system had locked itself into an automated amplification cycle. James's emotional signal was being captured, boosted, and redirected through the amplifier rings. Then it was feeding back into the neural sensors attached to his temples. Emotion, amplification, feedback, again and again. The monitors spiked violently. Karen stepped back from the console and yelled, "James, you need to remove the leads, now!" He reached for the neural connectors. The instant his fingers touched the sensor harness, then the machine surged. Every ring around the chair flashed with white light. The amplifier column howled with a piercing electrical whine. Karen threw her hands over her ears. "Power spike!" Inside the chamber, James felt something slam through his nervous system like lightning. Every nerve fired at once, not pain. Something far stranger. Awareness. His vision blurred as a wave of sensation rushed through his body. Then the first tingle struck. A cold prickle ran down his spine. Fear. The word appeared in his mind with sudden clarity. He blinked in confusion. The emotion wasn't his. It felt foreign but familiar. It was Karen's. James looked toward the observation window. Karen stood frozen at the console, eyes wide. And somehow, without hearing her voice, he knew exactly what she was feeling. Alarm. Confusion. Rising fear. The tingling sensation intensified. Karen's emotions were suddenly visible to his nervous system, translated into physical signals racing across his skin. "What?" James's voice stopped as the amplifier rings began spinning wildly. The resonance loop had gone unstable. The system screamed under the rising load. Karen stared at the readings. "James, your neural output is off the charts." Inside the chamber, the pressure in his chest grew heavier. Not physical weight. Emotion compressing into something tangible. The amplifier column behind him vibrated violently. Electrical arcs leapt across the sensor framework. The machine was no longer measuring his emotional signal. It was amplifying it beyond anything the system had ever recorded. The coil inside the amplifier column overheated. Metal warped. Then the containment casing split open with a deafening crack. A burst of blue-white energy exploded outward from the ruptured coil. Karen ducked behind the console. The electrical discharge leapt across the chamber and struck the neural harness attached to James's temples. For one impossible moment, his nervous system became part of the machine. Energy surged through the neural sensors and straight into his brain. James gasped as the world dissolved into blinding white. Every nerve fired simultaneously. His thoughts shattered into fragments of sensation, emotion, signal, energy.